Hi friends, it's Julie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a check-in video for you guys, and this is going to include my Booktubeathon wrap-up because that was last week. But in these videos, I let you know the books that I've read over the last 2 weeks, the books I'm currently reading, and the books that I plan on picking up very soon. And I have 5 books to talk about that I have read recently, so I'm probably not going to go into too much detail about them. But the first 2 books are ones that I read before Booktubeathon. And the first one of those was Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin. Now this is a book I just randomly picked up from the library. It just looked like a short, easy read, and it was, but it was such like a crazy, weird trip. Like I enjoyed it, but it was super weird. Like this book definitely wouldn't be for everyone. I think if you can appreciate some weirdness in your books, and you might really enjoy it, but I don't think this will be a book that everyone will like. And I'm going to try and tell you a little bit about it without trying to spoil anything. So in this book, we are following this woman who is like sick and is in kind of like a fever dream like state, and you're trying to figure out like what happened to her, like what got her to this moment. So it kind of goes back in time, and it's kind of supernatural. It's just very, very strange. Like, I think it's one of those books that's best to just like go into blindly. And like I said, it's super short, so you can read this book like in one setting. I would show you, like the pages are really short and everything, but I don't have a copy because I checked out from the library. So like you could easily read this book in one setting, but it was just definitely a little bit out there. It kind of made me feel like when I watched Requiem for a Dream for the first time, like how it just kind of just very trippy. That's kind of what I felt like when I was reading this book. Like the subject matter isn't the same or anything like that, but just had that kind of similar feeling to it. So definitely let me know if you've read that book. I would love to chat with somebody about it down below. And then the other book I read before Booktubeathon was The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin. This is the second book in her Broken Earth trilogy, and I buddy read this with Michael from Bitten by a Radioactive Book. And I enjoyed this. I didn't love it, but I ended up really enjoying it. Her writing is just, it's just so incredible. Like the story that she has created is fantastic. It's so complex and so well thought out. And I love all those things of it. I love all the characters and just everything. But at the same time, it's still very confusing. Like I spent the majority of this book not knowing what in the hell like was going on. And it just frustrated me a little bit because I wanted to understand everything. And I did by the end, but there were so many times that I just felt so lost and confused, and I would go back and reread passages again, and I constantly felt like I was missing something. But I'm starting to think that that's just the way that this story is told, because I felt really lost in the first book, and I still felt lost in this one, but by the end, I was finally starting to see the big picture. So I just kind of want to tell you guys that, because I would definitely recommend this trilogy. I think that the writing and everything is so fantastic, and I'm so excited for the final book. But I just want you to be prepared that if you do pick it up, you just kind of have to go with it. You just kind of have to go with the ride, and eventually things will start to come together. So don't get discouraged if you're confused at the beginning. So just kind of want to let you guys know that, because I definitely recommend this, but it's just, I don't know. I could see why it wouldn't be. I could see why it wouldn't be for everybody too. Now moving on to the books that I read for Booktubeathon. The first one was Dark Fever by Karen Marie Moning. This was a reread for me. I read this for the first time a few years ago, and I want to read the series, so I decided I needed to reread the first book, and I enjoyed this. I didn't love it. I mean, it's a urban fantasy, like paranormal romance, about fairies and things like that. And our main character is this girl named Michaela, although they call her Mac, and she goes to Dublin to try and figure out what happened to her sister, because her sister was going to college there and she was found murdered. And so Mac goes there to try and figure out what happened to her, and she starts to unravel all of these secrets and kind of gets like thrown into this world of fairies and things like that. And like I said, I enjoyed it. It's one of those like guilty pleasure reads. I read this in just a couple days, so it was like perfect for a readathon. I will say though that the main character is just so annoying. She's one of those girls that's so obsessed like with her looks, like just constantly. And she's like, oh, I'm so pretty, but I'm also smart, and just constantly worried about her nails and her outfits. It was just, it's really annoying because I'm like the complete opposite of that. But still, it's like one of those guilty pleasure books, and I'll continue on with the series. And then the second book I finished for Booktubeathon was Dangerous Boys by Abigail Haas. This is like a YA thriller, and I read Dangerous Girls by her a few years ago, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was so twisty and fun, and so I've been wanting to pick this book up because I enjoyed her writing. And I really enjoyed the writing in this book. I think that Abigail Haas is a good writer. And I enjoyed most of it. I enjoyed like 3/4 of this book, but the ending just really sucked for me. And I think it's because I just kind of ruined it for myself. Because Dangerous Girls was so twisty, I went into this one expecting, that same like big shocking twist. And so that's what I was expecting. And then when it didn't happen, it was just really annoying for me because I feel like I just ruined it because I had hyped it up in my head that it was going to be super twisty and then it wasn't. But in this book, we follow this girl who I don't remember her name now, but she is getting ready she just graduated high school and she's getting ready to go away to college. She lives in this small town and she just has been planning on getting away for the longest time. Well, right before she's getting ready to leave, some family issues come up and she's forced to stay home and take care of her family. And she meets this young guy and they start a relationship and everything seems to be going fine until his brother comes into town, and then something really bad happens and we're trying to figure out what happened. This is told through like a few different timelines. We have a section called the end, or like the ending, and that's like the conflict, like while it's happening. Then we have a then, which shows everything, tells everything leading up to that conflict. And then we have now, and it's telling everything that's happening afterwards. And yeah, it was just kind of disappointing for me. I don't know if I'd recommend this one. I would definitely still recommend Dangerous Girls though, by her. I mean, I read it a few years ago, so I don't remember it exactly, but I do remember being very surprised with the twist. And then the final book I read for Booktube-A-Thon was Breaking Silence by Lena Castillo. This is the 3rd book in the Kate Burkhalter series, and I don't really think I need to talk about this series because I have raved about this so much, and I love it. It's so good. I just get so sucked into these mysteries, and they're not that predictable. Like, I had a little bit of this one figured out, but there was still a twist at the end that I didn't expect, and I just love the characters. I love the setting. It's set in this little Amish town called Painter's Mill, and I just love this series like so much. More people need to read this. I think that if you like darker mystery thrillers, then you would just eat this up like I am. And the audiobooks are so fantastic. I listened to most of this one on audio and it was so good. The narration was great. And I know that Rachel from the Shades of Orange, who I discovered these books from, she's listened to them all on audio. So if you're looking for a fun new audiobook to get into, then I would definitely recommend this series. Now, right now, I am currently only reading one book, and that is Mad Ship by Robin Hobb. This is the 2nd book in the Live Ship Trader trilogy, and I plan on mainly focusing on this book this week because I want to get a good chunk of it read. I'm only about 165 pages into this, and it's like a 900-page book, so definitely going to be working on this one this week, and it's just so fantastic already. I love this trilogy so much. So much. It's probably going to be a favorite of mine of like all time. Just so great. And another book that I'm going to read this week, because I didn't get to it during Booktube-A-Thon, is Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shauna McGuire. This is the 2nd book in the Wayward Children series, and I was planning on reading this over the weekend, and then I just didn't read at all over the weekend. So hopefully I will get to this week, because I really want to read it. And then another book I know I'm going to be reading very soon is The Deep by Nick Cutter. I think I'm going to take this on vacation, and we leave on Friday. So I'm hoping to read this one at the beach because it just seems kind of perfect to read at the beach, actually, because it has to do with something down in the depths of the water. And I read The Troop by Nick Cutter, a few months ago, and it became one of my favorite horror novels I've ever read. It was the first horror novel that actually scared me, and so I cannot wait to read this one. And this is the book club pick for April from Getting Hooked with It. She started a new book club called like Dying to Read, I believe, and we're going to be reading horror and psychological thrillers and just alternating every month, and this is our first pick for that. And I can't wait to read this and discuss it with them. So definitely check out that group. I will link to it down below if you would like to join us. And then these last 3 are ones I'm just throwing in because I know I'm going to be reading them very soon. And the first one is Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. This is a dark adult fantasy series that I have been wanting to check out, as well as Backstage Pass by Olivia Cunning. This is an erotic novel that I am reading for my book club, and I think I might take this one to the beach too because I feel like it's just going to be one of those that you just kind of fly through. And then the final book is Gone Missing by Lena Castillo. This is the 4th book in that series, and yeah, can't wait to read this one. But that is everything that I have read and what I'm currently reading. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought about them. But I think that's it for the day, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all again very soon. Happy reading. Bye.